All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division or 140-pound division, where Gervonta Davis speaks out on the fight card that took place this weekend. Specifically, he addresses Lamont Roach's draw against Isaac Cruz, and he has some pretty harsh things to say about Lamont Roach. But at the same time, we get a little encouragement about what's coming up next for Gervonta. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about the wonderful fight card that we had this weekend, where the PBC was in San Antonio and had a card that was headlined by Lamont Roach and Isaac Pittbull Cruz. You also had O'Shaquie Foster, Steve Fulton Jr. on the card as well. Frank Martin made his return to the ring against Rances Bartholomew. You also had Erislandy Lara defending his middleweight champion one more time. I thought it was a terrific night at the fights. However, some people were upset about the outcome of the fight between Isaac Cruz and Lamont Roach. Some people thought Lamont Roach won the fight. Some people thought that Pittbull Cruz won the fight. Crazy enough, the commentating crew on Showtime had Lamont Roach, like they acted like Lamont Roach had won that 117-111. But whatever the case is, it wound up being a draw. So not the best result for either one of these guys. However, I was waiting and finally did get to hear what Gervonta Davis had to say about the fight itself. And I'm going to tell you, man, I think that he is, I think he's wrong and right at the same time. I wouldn't describe it the way that he described it, but pretty much what he said was that Lamont Roach is a gatekeeper, and that is the level of fighter that Lamont Roach is, and that's what you saw in the Pittbull Cruz fight. Now, what is a gatekeeper? A gatekeeper is somebody that, if there's a contender that is looking to get a championship, the gatekeeper is the fighter that they would put them in there with to determine whether or not these guys are champions or not, right? Whether or not they can continue. So a lot of gatekeepers in boxing right now. So say, for example, like who would be a gatekeeper? Jose Ramirez at this point in time in his career when he fought Devin Haney in his last fight. I think that he is a gatekeeper. I think guys like Gabriel Rosado is a gatekeeper. Guys that are really tough, going to give you good fights. If you get past them, you can make it to the next level. Rances Bartholomew. I think Rances Bartholomew is a gatekeeper type of fighter right now. He's, it's beating him. You have to be very good to beat him. If you beat him, you're a top level fighter. If you don't, that's where you are. So what does that say about Lamont Roach? It says that that's kind of where I kind of agree that Lamont Roach is. I think Lamont Roach is a contender at this point. I don't think he's gotten to the point of his career where he's not going to get any more championship shots, that he's really going to be put up there for, young contenders and fighters to get in there and see if they can get past him. I mean, maybe in a couple years he may be there, but right now, I think that's a little bit harsh. I think Lamont Roach is a legitimate contender for a championship. The problem with Lamont Roach is that Lamont Roach really does not separate himself in fights from the guy that he's fighting. That's the problem. He's primarily a counterpuncher, and when you're counterpunching, the guy that's taking the lead is, if anything lands, he's going to get the advantage in that exchange. And yes, if you counterpunch him effectively in it, yeah, you can win a lot of exchanges, but you're also going to lose some of them if a referee doesn't see that you were connecting while this person is starting the action and ending the action. So that's just kind of how I saw him fighting Gervonta. Like, he was never really trying to separate himself from Gervonta. He was just trying to stay as close to Gervonta as he could, and push it to getting us to a split decision, and And this is something I believe Lamont Roach has in his head. Because if you recall, when he was making the prediction for he and Gervonta Davis, he said that he figured that if Gervonta Davis didn't do something in the early rounds, that it would wind up being like a split decision. That is telling you that he is playing it really, really closely. And he is always he's not putting himself at risk to get hit with anything because he's not taking the lead. But at the same time, he's not taking any risk to really get the guy out of there, press on him and get him out of there so you know you don't have to go to these scorecards. And he winds up having to continue to go to scorecards, and he wound up not getting the call again. He didn't get the call against Gervonta. Personally, I thought Gervonta Davis won that fight, and that Gervonta Davis won it going away. I don't think he won it going away in the last couple rounds because I think Lamont Roach did pick it up in round 12, but Lamont Roach did not pick it up in 9, 10, and 11, where Gervonta Davis was doing very, very solid work. But regardless, he didn't separate himself enough to get that decision with Gervonta Davis. And in this fight with Pittbull Cruz, he didn't separate himself enough there. There was plenty of times where the commentators were talking about how well Lamont Roach was doing, and I was thinking to myself, man, don't you see Pittbull is being much more active? And you know, these guys always want to rely on their CompuBox stats and their statistics when the boxing doesn't get scored like that. You know what I mean? They keep talking about how many jabs he's thrown over the course of the fight, how many power punches he's thrown over the course of the fight, but that doesn't correlate into actually how boxing is scored. And you wind up having a lot of people upset because they get led to believe one thing is happening in the fight when the judges see something totally else, something totally different happening in the fight. But if Lamont Roach is going to want to get out of kind of this lull that he says that he's upset about, where he's like, man, I'm sick of this. Well, dude, you're going to have to do like a David Benavidez on somebody, man. You're going to have to let your hands go, dog. You're going to have to beat this guy up. You're going to have to beat that guy to the ground, man. It's not going to be good enough for you just to be technically the more, proficient guy through the fight, because you're not somebody that is selling a lot of tickets. You're not the fan favorite. And that's just kind of what it is until you get to that particular stage where people can kind of give you the benefit of the doubt for what you're doing in the ring. As of right now, they're not giving you the benefit of the doubt. They're calling it a draw because that's what Lamont Roach is fighting to. And honestly, that's what it looks like he's aiming at. Not aiming to knock the dude out, not aiming to make it like, where the scorecard isn't even close. Just plotting right next to the guy. And hey, man, the angle on that tape that the camera sees on that tape was what dictates who wins the sprint. And man, them angles ain't always looking the best for you, man. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. I would not call Lamont Roach a gatekeeper. I think that's a little bit too much. But he has a couple more fights like this. He's going to wind up being a gatekeeper because nobody's going to want to fight him. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.